We've all seen this amazing clip of Connor McDavid, but there's one thing in particular that this clip does an amazing job of demonstrating, and that is the rule of thumb of footwork, which is very simply, you want to be wide when you're on your inside edges, and you want to be narrow when you hit an outside edge. So let's watch how McDavid does this. So he starts the sequence with cross unders, which are an outside edge mechanic, and we see that throughout the entire sequence, he is landing that outside edge very close to his inside edge. Then as he picks up the puck, he gets on both inside edges and he gets wide. Next, he rolls onto that outside edge, and again he maintains a narrow position with his feet. Then throughout this entire bend, he's doing more cross unders, shuffles, and punch turns, which are all outside edge mechanics, and he keeps his feet very narrow the entire time. He then gets into a wide corkscrew position, which is both inside edges, and he's wide, and then lands narrow for the two cross unders, followed by getting wide again when he's doing these little stutter and soft drags, which are inside edge mechanics, and then of course he's wide for the anchor finish. So that's a great example of the rule of thumb of footwork. We saw that he was narrow when he was on his outside edge, and then he gets wide when he's on his inside edges. And so if you're like me, you like to dive into the why behind things. And so why we get wide on our inside edges is because we have a lower center of gravity, and therefore we are more balanced and stable. It also adds an element of puck protection because the defenders have to reach around our legs, making it a lot more difficult to get the puck. In addition, when you're wide on your inside edges, you have options to move either way at any point, because when you're wide, you have automatic low Y angle. And so all you have to do to move either way is unweight one foot and you'll go in that direction. That also adds an element of deception, which we saw McDavid use. When he got into that wide corkscrew position, none of the defenders knew what he was going to do. But all that changes when we get on an outside edge. Because in order to go faster and to turn tighter, we need to have lean and low Y angle. And that lean and Y angle is going to be largely dictated by our outside edge foot. And so as you can imagine, if your feet are very wide, it is hard to get that lean and to lower your Y angle in order to turn tight and accelerate out of the turn. But once you bring that outside edge foot close to the inside edge, now it's much easier to get that lean like we see with McDavid. In addition, because we're going to be traveling more on an arc, we have centripetal force that is going to be holding us up and providing us with stability, so we don't have to have that wide base of support in order to feel balanced. I mean, look at McDavid. He looks pretty balanced here, even though his feet are right next to each other. And so that is the rule of thumb of footwork. But it's important to remember that nothing in hockey is binary, and everything is subject to manipulation, and we need options. And so although this is the rule of thumb, it is not written in stone, as there are of course situations where you might want to be wider on your outside edge and narrower on your inside edge. For example, maybe in a 10-2, you want to be narrow, even though you're on both inside edges. And maybe in certain puck protection situations, you want to be wide, even though you're on an outside edge. Or if you want to turn wider, you could widen your feet, like Crosby's doing in this picture. And so keep this in mind next time you're working on your mechanics: wide on your inside edges, narrow on your outside edge, and that will serve you well in pretty much all situations. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, check this one out. I think you'll like it too.